Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever, really looked at a plant and wondered how it actually works?
Mhm.
How does that tiny little seed become this, towering tree or maybe a delicate flower? It seems like magic sometimes.
It really does. And today we're diving into Brian Capon's Botany for Gardeners.
Hmm.
We're focusing on Chapter 6, Adaptations to Fulfill Basic Needs, and also the intro to the functions part.
Right. And the mission, I guess, is to kind of peel back those layers
Exactly. We want to uncover the, honestly, pretty surprising ways plants adapt, and also the basic biology that drives their growth and survival.
and hopefully connect those tiny microscopic details to things you actually see happening in the garden. Those aha moments.
Yeah, and maybe some practical tips too, because plants, well, they're way more complex than they look, right?
Totally. So the source points out this interesting paradox.
Yeah.
In nature, having lots of resources like light and water
Hmm.
doesn't make it easier.
No, it actually cranks up the competition. It sounds weird, but think about a dense forest. It feels peaceful, maybe cool and shady,
Yeah.
but underneath, those plants are locked in this silent life or death struggle for their share of light, water, minerals. It's intense.
Wow. Okay. A life and death struggle in a peaceful forest. So how do we, as gardeners, deal with that struggle? Because we want lots of plants.
Well, that's the thing. In a garden, we control the competition, don't we? We prune things back, we thin seedlings, we space plants out.
Right. And we water and fertilize evenly. It's managed.
It's totally managed. But wild plants, they've evolved these amazing strategies like allelopathy.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. That's the chemical warfare thing, right?
That's it, exactly. Plants literally release chemicals, often germination inhibitors, into the soil. It stops their neighbors from growing too close.
Huh. So they're actively trying to suppress competition.
Yep. And it works especially well where there isn't much rain because the chemicals build up in the soil. Makes it tough for others to get a foothold. These are serious survival tools.
That's wild. So it's not just about growing taller or faster. And then there's that idea of dominant versus subdominant species.
Right. So the big dominant trees, they get the most light, sure. But they also take the full force of the wind, for example.
Ah, there's a cost.
There's always a cost. Meanwhile, the smaller subdominant plants get some protection from the big guys, but then they have to get creative to cope with less light or water, often using modified leaves or stems.
Which leads us straight into how plants reach for the sun. Yeah, that vital energy source.
Precisely. Leaves are the solar panels. And trees, well, they invest heavily in secondary tissues wood, basically to build strong trunks and grow tall, getting those leaves up into the light.
Not all plants do that. You've got shade-tolerant ones like low shrubs or herbs on the forest floor.
Yeah, and that's not just preference, it's physiological. Their chloroplasts, the little photosynthesis factories, can actually be destroyed by too much direct sun.
Wow. So they're adapted for low light. And sun lovers in the shade.
They get really spindly, stretching desperately for any bit of light. And their seeds are smart, too. They can sense the quality of light under a dense canopy and often won't even germinate until there's an opening, or maybe in winter in a deciduous forest.
Imagine that seedling literally trying to find the shortest path to the brightest light, even if it means growing sideways or grabbing onto something.
Exactly. Which brings us to spreading stems. You mentioned strawberries earlier.
Yeah, the runners.
Right, stolons or runners. Those are horizontal stems growing above the ground, like outstretched arms, finding a good spot, touching down, and starting a new plantlet at the tip.
Okay, so that's above ground. What about underground?
Those are rhizomes, still horizontal stems, but underground. And boy, are they persistent. Any gardener who's tried to get rid of certain weeds knows this. Little pieces just keep sprouting.
Uh-huh. Why are they so hard to get rid of?
Because they have nodes, just like above ground stems, and they can sprout new roots and shoots from those nodes. Often adventitious roots, meaning they pop out from the stem itself, not just the base.
And we see adventitious shoots too, right? Like suckers from blackberry roots.
Exactly. Those upright shoots popping up from horizontal roots, that's a key practical point for grafted roses too. If you see shoots below the graft,
The knobbly bit near the base.
yeah, that bump. If shoots come from below that, they're from the rootstock, not your fancy rose variety. You've got to remove them or they'll take over.
Good tip. Okay, so spreading out is one way. What about climbing up?
Lots of strategies there too. You've got twiners, like bean plants that just spiral their whole stem around something.
Simple enough.
Then tendrils, those are more specialized, modified bits of leaves or maybe short stems that actively grasp things. They feel contact and then coil around it. Sweet peas do this. Clematis uses its leaf stalks.
And some get even more specialized, right? Like sticky pads.
Yeah. Virginia creeper has these little adhesive discs on short branches, sticks right onto walls.
And ivy? That seems different again.
Ivy uses adventitious roots for climbing. They wedge into tiny cracks in bark or masonry, expand, and become woody over time. Makes them incredibly hard to pull off once established. Plants are amazing problem solvers for getting light.
It really seems that way. And you mentioned lianas in rainforests.
Oh, yeah, those are incredible. Woody vines starting on the dark floor, racing hundreds of feet up through the canopy to reach sunlight. They spread their leaves way up high and can even create these sort of aerial walkways for animals.
Wow. And speaking of being up high, what about epiphytes, plants living on other plants?
Right, a pond plant. They cling to branches, especially in wet forests, to get better light. Their roots are mainly for holding on, not absorbing from soil, so they need special ways to get water and nutrients.
Like bromeliads, the ones that look like cups.
Exactly. Those leaf rosettes collect rainwater, creating little tanks. Insects and debris fall in, decompose, and provide nutrients. Some even house tiny frogs or insects.
A whole mini ecosystem.
Totally. And others, like Spanish moss, which is actually a bromeliad too, have special hairs to absorb moisture right out of the air. Orchids, another famous epiphyte group, have aerial roots with this spongy layer called velamen that soaks up water vapor.
But it's a risky life, isn't it, if their host tree falls?
Down they go. It's a precarious existence, definitely.
You know, thinking about structure, it's not just about light and water, but also just holding yourself up, especially big trees in wet soil.
Absolutely. That's where things like buttress roots come in. You see them on big tropical trees like ficus. Huge, woody, wedge-shaped supports flaring out from the base, extending up the trunk and outwards. Gives them massive stability.
Like built-in scaffolding.
Kind of, yeah. And then you have prop roots or stilt roots. These are adventitious roots again, but they grow down from the trunk or branches into the ground. Screw pines, mangroves use these.
Even corn does that, right? Those little roots near the bottom.
Exactly. Corn develops prop roots to help support the weight of all those leaves and heavy ears of corn. Whether it's giant buttresses or modest prop roots, plants engineer the support they need.
Okay, so getting water from the air with velamen is one thing, but what about storing water once you have it? Most plants use soil roots, obviously.
Right, the standard method. But some can absorb fog drip through their leaves, through the stomata, and rainforest plants often have those pointed drip tips.
Oh, I've seen those on houseplants like philodendrons. Why the point?
It helps water run off quickly, dries the leaf faster, which discourages fungi and moss from growing on it, and directs water maybe towards the plant's own roots.
That's smart. But desert plants, they're the real water storage champs, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. They either have incredibly deep tap roots going way down, or like lots of cacti, they have shallow, wide-spreading fibrous roots just under the surface to soak up rain instantly.
And then they hold on to it, like succulents.
Yep. Succulent leaves or stems, like you see in sedum or jade plants, have these huge water storage cells. They can keep a plant going for ages. Some cacti are like 95% water by volume.
95%. Wow. And barrel cacti, you mentioned they have ribs?
Yeah, those vertical ribs do a couple of things. They help shade the cactus body as the sun moves across the sky, and they allow the stem to expand and contract like an accordion.
Like bellows.
Exactly. Puffs up when it rains, shrinks down as it uses the water. Super efficient.
And some are just massive water tanks like baobabs.
Huge. Baobabs in Africa can store thousands, literally thousands of gallons. The saguaro cactus in North America, maybe 500 to 800 gallons. Knowing how they manage water really helps you understand why you water your own cacti so infrequently, right?
Definitely gives you perspective. Okay, beyond just water, plants need food reserves, especially to get through tough times like winter cold or summer drought. Dormancy.
Right. And many have evolved these amazing underground storage organs packed with food, usually starch or sugars, and some water. And that high concentration of sugars acts like a natural antifreeze.
Like antifreeze in a car?
Sort of, yeah. It lowers the freezing point inside the cells, helping protect them from frost damage. Pretty clever.
So what are the main types? Like onions?
Onions are a classic bulb. If you cut one open, you see layers, right? Those layers are actually fleshy, modified leaf bases, all attached to a small, flat, disc-like stem at the bottom. The outer papery layers are protection. It's a whole compact shoot ready to grow.
Okay, so bulbs are mostly fleshy leaves. What about something like a crocus? That feels solid.
Good point. Crocus, gladiolus, those are corms. They look similar from the outside sometimes, but inside, a corm is a short, swollen, solid underground stem. No fleshy leaf layers. It's surrounded by dry, papery leaf bases from previous growth.
Got it. Stem versus leaves. And you mentioned bulbs have contractile roots. That sounds cool.
It is. These special roots grow down, anchor the bulb, and then actually contract, shorten, and thicken, pulling the bulb deeper into the soil to the right depth for protection, like they're planting themselves.
That's amazing. And gardeners use this, right? Propagating bulbs.
Oh, yeah. You can divide clumps of bulbs like daffodils, or with lilies, you can even break off individual fleshy scales and get them to sprout new plantlets. With corms, new ones form on top of the old one each year, and little baby cormals might form around the base. You have to grow those cormals on for a year or two before they're big enough to flower, though.
Okay, so bulbs, corms.
Yeah.
What else stores food underground?
Well, rhizomes, again, we talked about them for spreading, but things like ginger or iris have thick, fleshy rhizomes primarily for storage.
Ah, right. Like ginger root you buy in the store.
Exactly. And then stem tubers. The classic example is the white potato. That potato isn't a root, it's the swollen tip of an underground stem, a rhizome.
So the eyes on a potato.
Those are the buds, axillary buds, located at the nodes on that modified stem. That's where new sprouts come from.
Mind blown. Okay, potato is a stem tuber. What about sweet potato? It looks similar sometimes.
Totally different. A sweet potato is a root tuber, or tuberous root. It's an enlarged, swollen, adventitious root. Dahlias also have root tubers.
Wow, okay. Stem tuber, root tuber. Important difference for botanists, maybe less so when you're eating them.
True. But for propagation, it matters. Horticulturists use all these rhizomes, stem tubers, root tubers to make new plants.
And the key is you need a bud, right?
Absolutely essential. Whether it's an eye on a potato piece or a bud on a rhizome chunk, you need at least one bud for a new plant to grow. And because it's vegetative propagation, not from seed.
They're clones, genetically identical.
Exactly. Same characteristics as the parent plant.
Okay, so we've covered plants adapting on their own, getting light, water, support, storing resources.
Yeah.
But they don't live in a vacuum, do they?
Not at all. Their interactions with other organisms are just as crucial and just as fascinating. That's a whole other layer.
Right, like saprophytes. What are they again?
Those are mostly fungi and bacteria. They live off dead, decaying organic stuff. Think mushrooms on a rotting log.
Nature's recyclers.
Absolutely essential recyclers. They break down dead material, returning mineral nutrients to the soil, making it fertile for living plants. Super important.
Okay, so they're beneficial. What about the opposite end? Parasites.
Right. Parasites invade living tissues and steal nutrients from their host. Many use this special structure, a hostorium, to plug into the host's plumbing, basically.
And the results aren't pretty, usually.
It can range from just weakening the host to killing it outright. Gardeners know this all too well. Bacterial diseases like crown gall, fungal mildews and rusts, viruses like lettuce mosaic.
Yeah, constant battle sometimes. But some flowering plants are parasites too.
Oh, yes. There are hemiparasites, meaning half parasites. Mistletoe is a good example.
Half? How does that work?
They have chlorophyll. They can make some of their own food through photosynthesis, but they invade the host, usually trees, with these root-like hostoria to steal water and minerals. Witchweed is another nasty one. Hits corn and glasses hard.
Okay, so they steal water and minerals. What about true parasites?
True parasites are totally dependent. No chlorophyll, no leaves usually. They get everything: food, water, minerals from the host. Think of Rafflesia, that giant stinky flower in Southeast Asia. It lives entirely inside its host vine until it flowers.
Wow. And dodder, that stringy orange stuff.
Yep, dodder is another true parasite. Wraps around plants in these tangled webs, sinks its hostoria in, really damaging to crops and ornamentals. And often the only fix is to remove and destroy the infected plants entirely.
Harsh. But it's not all bad news for interactions, right? Symbiosis.
Exactly. Symbiosis just means living together, and often it's mutually beneficial. Mycorrhizae are a fantastic example.
That's the fungus root relationship.
Yes. Beneficial soil fungi that partner up with plant roots. The fungus threads, the hyphae, extend way out into the soil much further than roots can reach. They absorb nutrients, especially phosphorus and nitrogen, and share them with the plant.
And what does the fungus get out of it?
Sugars. Food made by the plant during photosynthesis. It's a trade. Most plants benefit: corn, peas, apples. Even some non-photosynthetic plants like the snow plant rely on mycorrhizae connected to nearby trees to get their food indirectly.
That's wild, an underground food web.
It really is. And another huge one is root nodules, especially on legumes, peas, beans, clover.
Those little bumps on the roots?
Yeah, caused by rhizobium bacteria living inside. These bacteria do something amazing. Nitrogen fixation. They take nitrogen gas from the air, which plants can't use directly.
And turn it into usable nitrogen compounds.
Exactly, like ammonium ions. The plant gets essential nitrogen, and the bacteria get carbohydrates from the plant. It's a critical part of the whole planet's nitrogen cycle.
Which is why legumes are so good for the soil, right?
Precisely. They enrich the soil with nitrogen. Using clover as a cover crop or peas as green quinoa adds nitrogen back naturally. Great gardening practice.
Okay, so we have helpers and thieves. What about plants that turn the tables entirely? Carnivorous plants?
Ah, yes, the insectivorous plants. Probably the most intriguing adaptations of all. The consumer becomes the consumed.
Why did they evolve that way? It seems so. Unplant-like.
It's mostly about nitrogen again. They typically evolved in really nutrient-poor, boggy, marshy soils where nitrogen is scarce, and those helpful nitrogen-fixing bacteria or fungi might be rare.
So they get nitrogen from pus.
Exactly. They still photosynthesize for energy, but they supplement their mineral diet, especially nitrogen, by trapping and digesting insects or other small critters.
How do they digest them?
Usually with enzymes secreted by glands on the leaves, similar to our digestive enzymes. Or sometimes bacteria living in the traps help break down the prey.
Okay, so what are the main trap types? Sticky traps.
Yep, adhesive traps. Butterworts and sundews have leaves covered in stalked glands that secrete sticky goo. Imagine tiny, glistening dewdrops, but they're deadly glue traps for small insects. Sundew leaves even curl inwards slowly to engulf the prey.
Creepy and cool. What else? Pitfalls.
Right, pitfall traps, like in pitcher plants. The leaves are modified into tubes or pitchers, often with slippery surfaces or downward-pointing hairs inside.
Like a one-way slide.
Pretty much. Insects fall or crawl in, can't get back out, and eventually drown in the pool of digestive liquid at the bottom.
Yikes. And the most famous one.
The active trap, the Venus flytrap, those two hinged leaf lobes like a clam shell with teeth.
Yeah.
They have trigger hairs inside. An insect touches a hair maybe twice or two hairs in quick succession. SNAP. The trap closes rapidly.
How many times can it do that?
So the source says a trap can usually close about 10 times before it kind of wears out and needs to rest. And it can digest maybe 3 insects before the leaf itself dies. It's an incredible mechanism. Nature's ingenuity is just wild.
Seriously.
Yeah.
It makes you realize how much is going on inside the plant.
Wait.
Which brings us to plant physiology, the science behind it all.
Exactly. Physiology is the study of function. How the plant's inner workings, the physical and chemical processes, actually make everything happen. Biologists want to get beyond just observing what happens, to understanding how and why at a deeper level.
Opening up those invisible worlds the source mentions.
Right. It builds on knowing the structure, the morphology, anatomy, psychology. But a physiologist asks, okay, how do these cells actually do that? How do hormones trigger flowering? How does water move up a tall tree?
And we don't have all the answers, do we?
Oh, far from it. It's actually quite humbling, even seemingly simple routine functions. We still don't fully understand how food moves efficiently through the phloem, for instance, or exactly how cell membranes pick and choose what gets in and out, or even the precise role of some micronutrients like boron.
So plants are definitely not as simple as they look.
Not even close. There's still so much mystery.
How do scientists try to figure it out then? The scientific method.
Yep, the classic process. It starts with observation, noticing something interesting, then lots of background research, what's already known. Then you formulate a hypothesis, a testable guess or explanation.
And then experiments.
Crucial step. Carefully designed experiments that isolate variables, are repeatable, and have controls for comparison. Good technique, accurate measurements, meticulous records. It's rigorous work.
And other scientists need to be able to replicate it, right?
Absolutely. That's key. Then you analyze the data, see if it supports or refutes your hypothesis, draw conclusions, and often design more experiments based on what you learned. The goal is always digging deeper into the why at the molecular level.
So what are the big areas physiology covers?
Broadly, 3 main things. 1, growth and development and how chemicals like hormones and environmental cues control it. 2, uptake and transport, getting water, nutrients, gases in and moving them around. And 3, metabolism, especially photosynthesis, using those raw materials to make food, and then how that food fuels everything else.
And it's a field where there's still lots happening.
Oh, hugely active, fast-growing, intensely studied. precisely because there are still so many fundamental questions, which is exciting.
It means there's still tons to discover, maybe even in your own garden. The source actually encourages investigative gardeners to try their own simple experiments.
Yeah, it's an invitation to be curious, to observe closely, ask questions.
And that really sums it up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This whole dive just shows the incredible range, the ingenuity of plant adaptations. From microscopic cells to giant trees, they're all so finely tuned to survive and thrive.
Every plant really is this complex, wondrous system, constantly interacting with its environment, defending itself, grabbing opportunities.
And knowing a bit about that biology, it really does make you a better gardener, doesn't it? More effective, maybe more appreciative too.
Definitely. Understanding the why behind the what makes a big difference.
So next time you're looking at a plant, maybe don't just see green leaves in a stem. See that whole amazing story of survival millions of years in the making. Makes you wonder, what other secrets are they still keeping?
Keep looking, keep learning. There's always more to discover in the world of plants.